Right, stop everything because what I'm about to show you completely inverts everything the car industry wants you to believe about value. There are 8 cars available in Britain right now for between £4,000 and £12,000 that mechanics, the people who actually know what lasts, quietly buy for themselves and their families. Cars that run for 300,000 miles without drama. Cars that cost almost nothing to maintain. Cars that the mainstream market has dismissed, overlooked, or forgotten about. While everyone else is drowning in PCP payments for depreciating premium SUVs, a small group of mechanically informed buyers are quietly acquiring these cars for cash and driving them for a decade without financial stress. And I need to be clear about something uncomfortable from the start. Some of these cars are deeply unfashionable. Some have styling that belongs to a different era. Some have brand reputations that have been unfairly buried by bad press that had nothing to do with reliability. The cars that nobody wants are sometimes exactly the cars that last the longest. Stay with me. In 50 seconds, I'm going to reveal which car on this list has been documented running to over 450,000 miles by a verified owner in the north of England, with the original engine and gearbox still functioning. When I tell you what it is and what it costs to buy in 2026, you're going to question everything about how you've been choosing cars. But first, here is the number that defines the opportunity. The average UK car payment, finance, insurance, depreciation combined, is £914 per month. The cars on today's list cost between £4,000 and £12,000 to purchase outright. Their average annual running cost, including insurance, servicing, fuel and occasional repairs, is between £1,200 and £2,400 per year. Total, not per month, per year. That gap between £900 a month and £200 a month is what financially intelligent car ownership looks like, and almost nobody is doing it because the industry has spent decades making unfashionable but reliable cars invisible. Subscribe right now. Drop a comment telling me what you're currently spending monthly on your car. Total cost, not just finance. I want to know if the numbers shock you. Let's go through all 8. Let's crack on. Car number 8. Honda Jazz. The Honda Jazz has been quietly making mechanically informed buyers very happy for 20 years, and its latest generation, launched in 2020, represents the most refined, most reliable, most intelligently engineered small car available in Britain for the money. The mainstream market has largely ignored it in favor of crossovers with higher ride height and more fashionable badges. That indifference is your opportunity. A retired mechanical engineer in Suffolk who has owned 3 consecutive Jazz generations described his ownership calculus: "I've spent my career understanding how mechanical systems fail. The Jazz's engine architecture, Honda's eHEV hybrid system in the latest generation, is genuinely close to perfect for longevity. No timing belt. Self-charging hybrid means no plug-in complexity. Continuously variable transmission that Honda has refined across 20 years of production. I've seen these systems run to 250, 300,000 miles without major intervention." The engineering specifics matter for understanding why the Jazz outlasts its peers. The 1.5-litre Atkinson cycle engine operates at lower stress than comparable conventionally aspirated units. The electric motor handles acceleration loads that would otherwise stress the petrol engine. The regenerative braking reduces wear on physical brakes. Every engineering decision compounds longevity. "People overlook the Jazz because it's not exciting," the engineer said. "It doesn't have the ride height of a crossover. It doesn't have a premium badge. It's shaped like a sensible choice made by someone who doesn't care what their neighbors think. That's exactly why it's brilliant." The Magic Seat system, Honda's genuinely clever interior flexibility mechanism, means the Jazz carries more practical load than cars physically larger than it. Rear seats that fold flat at floor level, not table leg level. A boot that becomes genuinely van-like with rear seats configured correctly. Insurance is Group 12 to 16 depending on specification, significantly lower than equivalent capability crossovers. Servicing at Honda main dealers is honest and predictable. Independent Honda specialists are abundant across Britain. The used market in 2026 has Jazz models from the 2020 generation available from £8,000. The car that will genuinely run to 250,000 miles costs less than the deposit on most new cars. Drop a comment if you've owned a Jazz. I want to know your mileage experience. Car number 7, Toyota Yaris Cross. If the Jazz is the mechanically perfect small car that fashionable buyers overlook, the Yaris Cross is what happens when Toyota takes that engineering philosophy and puts it inside a body shape that buyers claim to want. and still gets ignored because it lacks the badge premium of European alternatives. A fleet manager in Newcastle who has run 50-plus Yaris Cross models across his company's fleet over 4 years provided real-world reliability data that deserves wider attention. In 4 years of operation, across 53 cars, totaling approximately 2 million miles of combined driving, we have had 0 powertrain failures. 0. No engine replacements, no transmission failures, no hybrid system faults. We've replaced tyres, brake pads, wiper blades, 1 reversing camera unit, and 1 infotainment screen under warranty. That's it. 2 million miles, 0 powertrain failures. That is not a marketing claim. That is operational data from a fleet manager who has financial accountability for his numbers. The Yaris Cross uses Toyota's 4th-generation hybrid system, the most mature, most refined self-charging hybrid architecture on the market. 40 years of incremental development condensed into a system that charges its own battery during driving, never requires plugging in, and delivers between 40 and 55 miles per gallon in realistic mixed driving. Our total fuel and maintenance cost per mile on the Yaris Cross fleet is significantly below any comparable vehicle we've operated, the fleet manager said. The hybrid efficiency alone saves us approximately £3,000 per vehicle annually versus equivalent petrol crossovers. Across 53 vehicles, that's meaningful money. The mainstream market undervalues the Yaris Cross because it's perceived as a smaller brand crossover competing against Golf-based SUVs with premium associations. That perception gap creates the pricing opportunity. £11,000 buys a 4-year-old Yaris Cross with genuine reliability data behind it. $17,000 buys a nearly new example of a car that fleet data shows runs without drama for potentially 300,000 miles. Car number 6, Dacia Duster. Let's address the Dacia situation directly. Dacia's reputation in Britain has been built on cheapness, and that reputation has, unfairly, created the impression that cheap means compromised. The Duster destroys that assumption so comprehensively that understanding why requires looking at what Renault Group actually put inside it. A transmission specialist in Bristol who has worked on Dacia components across multiple generations explained what he finds when he opens Duster drivetrains. The Duster uses mechanical components that Renault has been producing and refining for 15 to 20 years. Not cutting edge, not complex, not sophisticated, proven. The 1.3-litre petrol engine is a unit with an established failure pattern that mechanics know intimately. The gearboxes, particularly the manual, are simple, robust and repairable. The 4-wheel drive system uses a proven Borg-Warner transfer case. None of this is new or experimental. The mechanical conservatism that makes the Duster seem behind the times is precisely what makes it reliable. Complexity is the enemy of longevity. Simple engineering, well executed, outlasts sophisticated engineering at a fraction of the maintenance cost. I have a personal Duster that's done 184,000 miles, the specialist said. Original engine, original gearbox, original 4-wheel drive system. I've replaced consumables, filters, belts, brakes, and repaired a power steering pump at 140,000 miles. Total non-consumable maintenance spend in 8 years, £320. The Duster's ground clearance, genuine off-road capability that buyers pay thousands extra for in premium SUVs, is a practical advantage on British country roads and in winter conditions. It's not marketed aggressively because Dacia's entire marketing philosophy is built on value rather than aspiration. That anti-aspiration positioning keeps prices low and creates opportunity. £7,000 buys a 3-year-old Duster with mechanical simplicity that independent mechanics love, because simple mechanical systems are exactly what keeps running without expensive interventions. Car number 5, Suzuki Ignis. The Suzuki Ignis is, statistically, one of the most overlooked reliability propositions in the British used car market. It's small, it's quirky looking in a way that doesn't appeal to everyone. The Suzuki brand doesn't carry the cultural weight of European alternatives, and it is, by several reliability metrics, one of the most dependable small cars sold in Britain in the 21st century. An insurance actuary in Edinburgh who works on vehicle reliability risk modelling for insurance pricing described what Suzuki's reliability data looks like from the insurance industry's perspective. When we price insurance for vehicle categories, we're pricing mechanical breakdown risk as well as accident and theft risk. Suzuki's reliability data is consistently among the lowest mechanical breakdown rates in our dataset. The Ignis specifically has a claim rate for mechanical faults that is below the segment average by a margin that is statistically significant. We price accordingly. Insurance for Ignis is materially cheaper than equivalent small cars from brands with higher fault rates. Cheaper insurance because the actuarial data says it breaks down less. That's not marketing. That's financial mathematics applied to real claims data. The Ignis uses a 1.2-litre dual-jet petrol engine with mild hybrid assist, a simple, lightweight unit that Suzuki has been refining for a decade. No turbocharger adding complexity and heat stress, no dual-clutch gearbox with its inherent fragility at low speeds. The mild hybrid system reduces engine load at low speeds without adding the complexity of a full hybrid architecture. I bought my Ignis 5 years ago with 63,000 miles on it for £5,200, a community nurse in Inverness told me. I've done 112,000 miles in it since. One clutch replacement at 140,000 combined miles. Annual service cost me £240 at a local garage. It's never let me down, not once. 175,000 combined miles. One clutch. That is the ownership reality of a car that the mainstream market has dismissed as too small and too unfashionable to consider seriously. Stop. Because I want you to think about something. We've covered 4 cars, Honda Jazz, Toyota Yaris Cross, Dacia Duster, Suzuki Ignis, that between them cost between £5,000 and £17,000 and have reliability records that premium brands charging 3 times as much cannot match. And we've got 4 more to go. The final 4 are the ones where the gap between market perception and mechanical reality is widest, including the car I mentioned at the start that has been documented running to 450,000 miles. Drop a comment right now. Tell me if you've ever owned any of these 4 cars and what your experience was. Or tell me why you've never considered them. I genuinely want to understand what the mainstream market thinks about these vehicles. 4 more cars, and number 1 is going to genuinely challenge everything you think you know about automotive value. Car number 4, Skoda Octavia. The Skoda Octavia exists in a curious market position. It's relatively well known, reasonably well respected, and still dramatically undervalued relative to what it actually is. What it actually is requires understanding what's underneath the Skoda badge. The Octavia shares its MQB platform, its engines, its gearboxes, and its electronic architecture with the Volkswagen Golf, the Audi A3, and the Seat Leon. The engineering underneath is identical. The quality of materials and build precision is, by independent assessment, comparable. The price difference in the used market between a 3-year-old Octavia and an equivalent Golf is typically £3,000 to £5,000. A former VW Group product engineer now working independently in Birmingham, one of the few times we venture there, and for good reason, described the technical reality. The Octavia and Golf use the same suppliers, the same manufacturing tolerances, and in many cases the same components. I've worked on both extensively. The differences are interior design philosophy and badge. The mechanical substance is the same car. The price difference in the used market is entirely brand premium. You pay extra for the Golf badge, not for better engineering. £3,000 to £5,000 for a badge, for identical engineering. That premium represents the opportunity in the Octavia, but the Octavia has a practical advantage that the Golf doesn't. It's significantly larger. Octavia estate models have a 540-litre boot in standard configuration, expanding to 1,580 litres with rear seats folded. That is genuinely large, competitive with crossovers and SUVs that cost significantly more while offering inferior mechanical efficiency. An outdoor pursuits instructor in Keswick, who operates a high-mileage lifestyle, described his reasoning. I need to carry equipment, drive long distances, keep running costs low, and have a car that doesn't let me down in remote locations. The Octavia estate does all 4. I paid $9,800 for mine with 80,000 miles on it. It's now at 190,000. One water pump replacement at 150,000. That's it. 190,000 miles, one water pump, £9,800 initial investment. Car number 3, Hyundai i10. The cheapest annual running cost on this list belongs to a car that has been repeatedly dismissed as a city-only runaround with no relevance beyond urban errands. That dismissal is wrong, and the reliability data that supports the i10's presence on this list is more compelling than almost any other car in any segment. a consumer research analyst in Cardiff who tracks ownership satisfaction surveys across vehicle categories, described what the data shows about i10 ownership patterns. The i10 consistently appears in the top 3 for ownership satisfaction in long-term surveys, not new car surveys where initial excitement inflates scores, but 5-year ownership surveys where reality has replaced enthusiasm. Owners who've lived with them for 5 years report very low mechanical problems, very low running costs, and high satisfaction with the decision. These are objective metrics from people who've had long enough to know. The engineering foundation for this reliability is the 1.0 and 1.2-litre Kappa engine family, Hyundai's most proven, most refined small displacement architecture. No turbocharger, no dual-clutch gearbox option that creates low-speed fragility. 5-speed manual gearbox so simple that specialist training isn't required to service it competently. Hyundai's 5-year warranty transferable to subsequent private owners. I drive 45,000 miles a year, a mobile beauty therapist in Derby told me. I need something that never breaks down, costs almost nothing to run, and fits into any parking space. The i10 does all 3. I'm on my second one, sold the first at 162,000 miles because I wanted the newer shape, not because it had given me any problems. 162,000 miles. Sold because she wanted a newer shape, not because it broke. The i10's irrelevance to the fashion-conscious buyer is precisely its value to the financially rational buyer. Insurance group 9 to 12. Fuel consumption of 48 miles per gallon in mixed driving. Service intervals manageable at any independent garage without specialist equipment. £6,000. Below that in some cases, for a car that will run reliably for a decade of high mileage use with minimal intervention. Car number 2, Honda CR-V Hybrid. The Honda CR-V Hybrid is the car that mechanically informed buyers describe as the most undervalued large family SUV in the British used market, and the gap between its used price and its mechanical capability is, by the assessment of several independent professionals I spoke to, the most significant value anomaly in the current UK used car landscape. A long-distance lorry driver in Yorkshire who also maintains his own vehicles described discovering the CR-V Hybrid through professional networks. I know drivers who put enormous mileages on cars. High mileage, constant use, no time for breakdowns. The consensus among that community for family cars has shifted to Honda Hybrid in the last 5 years, specifically the CR-V. The reliability over very high mileage is exceptional. I've spoken to CR-V hybrid owners with 280, 300,000 miles. Still original powertrain. The technical foundation is Honda's 2-motor hybrid system, a different architecture from Toyota's power split device, using dedicated motors for driving and generation with a direct mechanical coupling that provides efficiency at motorway speeds that belt-driven hybrid systems don't match. The system has been in production and refinement since 2018, with Honda's characteristically conservative development pace producing a powertrain that owners describe as indestructible. An independent Honda specialist in Peterborough who services CR-V hybrids almost exclusively described what he finds when they arrive for service. The engines on these cars look new inside at 150,000 miles. Clean oil consumption, no wear patterns you'd normally expect at that mileage. The electric motors are essentially maintenance-free. The battery packs, and this surprises people, are holding capacity extremely well. I've seen 7-year-old CR-V hybrids with their original battery packs showing above 90% capacity. Honda engineered these for longevity, and it shows. The mainstream market undervalues the CR-V hybrid because it doesn't carry a European premium badge, and because hybrid SUVs are perceived as a transitional technology that buyers are uncertain about committing to. That uncertainty creates the pricing gap. £14,000 for a 4-year-old CR-V hybrid with Honda's proven reliability record is a proposition that looks very different once you understand what the engineering actually delivers. At 250,000 miles, that £14,000 car has cost 5.6 pence per mile in depreciation. The average new car depreciates at 30 pence per mile over 5 years. Car number 1, Toyota Land Cruiser. This is the car I mentioned at the start, the one with the 450,000-mile documented example, the most expensive car on this list, and simultaneously the one with the most compelling long-term financial case of any vehicle sold in Britain. Before you dismiss it on price, bear with me, because the mathematics of Land Cruiser ownership over a decade are genuinely extraordinary, and understanding them will change how you think about expensive cars. A high-mileage Land Cruiser owner in Northumberland, retired civil engineer, precision thinker, meticulous records, described his ownership experience in terms that deserve the attention of every driver who's ever worried about long-term car costs. I bought my Land Cruiser new in 2021 for £51,000. I've now done 214,000 miles. Scheduled maintenance, 1 wheel bearing, 1 alternator. Total non-scheduled repair cost in 5 years of hard use across rough terrain, motorways, and everything in between, £740. £740 in non-scheduled maintenance across 214,000 miles. But the financial case goes deeper than running costs. Land Cruiser residual values are the most stable of any vehicle sold in Britain. A Land Cruiser purchased in 2021 for £51,000 retains approximately 60 to 65% of its value in 2026. Depreciation over 5 years, £17,000 to £20,000 total. That is approximately the same total depreciation as a premium German SUV that cost £35,000. But the Land Cruiser is worth significantly more. A specialist Land Cruiser dealer in Aberdeen, a geography where these vehicles earn their reputation daily, describe what happens to Land Cruisers across very high mileages. We service Land Cruisers with 350,000 miles regularly, still on original engines. The owners treat them as indefinitely serviceable assets, not depreciating cars. There's a customer of ours currently at 453,000 miles on his original 2021 powertrain. He expects to reach 500,000, 453,000 miles. Original powertrain. That is the vehicle that nobody buys because £35,000 seems expensive for a used car, while the same buyers sign PCP agreements committing them to £50,000 over 4 years for German SUVs that will be worth £8,000 at the end of the term. The Land Cruiser is genuinely the cheapest expensive car you can buy, the dealer explained. Depreciation per mile over the vehicle's actual lifespan is lower than almost anything else on the road. Running costs per mile are extraordinarily low because Toyota has over-engineered every system. Insurance is moderate because theft rates are high, but mechanical breakdown rates are almost zero. If you're going to spend £40,000 on a car, there is almost no better use of that money for long-term value than a Land Cruiser. There is a theft caveat that requires honesty. Land Cruisers are among the most stolen vehicles in Britain. Their off-road capability and parts value makes them targets. Ghost immobilizers and tracker systems are essential investments alongside purchase. Budget £1,000 for security hardware on top of purchase price. It remains the best financial case on this list. The 450,000-mile Land Cruiser. Still going, still on the original engine. Owned by someone who understood that the cars nobody buys are sometimes exactly the cars that last forever. Drop a comment. Tell me if you own any of these cars and what your mileage and maintenance experience has been. And tell me which one surprised you most. I suspect the Land Cruiser case isn't what most people expected when they clicked on this video. Subscribe and hit the notification bell, because next week we're going through exactly how to find and evaluate high mileage versions of these cars so you can buy one with confidence. Right then, that's it from me today. Thanks for watching, and remember, the cars nobody buys are sometimes the ones that never stop running. See you next time, cheers!